Hi, good morning, and today is the 19th of September 2021, and every week we do a sort of look back at the news from Zimmer and Peacock for the week, and so this is a look back at the news for the from Zimmer and Peacock for the week starting the 13th of September 2021. And I can just see that Aftab's come online, so morning Aftab. As I say, this is kind of meant to be a fairly light vlog and podcast. So after the vlog's gone out, we turn it into a podcast because we have had some interest that people, they want to listen to it rather than always have to watch it, which is completely cool. So we're going to put this out as a podcast as well. So just some news from Zimmer and Peacock for this week. Just to say that it's a month away, but on the 20th, no, actually it's on the 19th of October 2021, we will be visiting NTNU in Norway. So NTNU is, I think, one of the sort of highest regarded universities in Norway. We've had, sorry about the new timing. I appreciate somebody just said that the new timing. Yes, we've moved the new timing to 8 a.m. on Sundays, and my apologies for that. But yes, this is the new timing. I don't expect lots of people to have to get up and listen to this vlog at 8 a.m. on Sundays. But, you can always catch it later on, let's say, because it's posted on YouTube. So, yeah, we'll be visiting NTNU on the 19th of October 2021. It's titled, if I go to the link, it's titled Kjemidagen. So, Kjemidagen just means kind of chemistry day in Norwegian. And so we'll be going there and promoting the fact that, this summer alone we had two summer students come from NTNU to work with us. And I know that at least two full-time employees at ZP, or two members of the team at ZP, also did their degrees and their postgraduate degrees. Hi Saran, nice to see you. Also did their degrees and their PhDs at NTNU. So just a bit of news on the 19th of October 2021. If you happen to know some students or you are a student at NTNU, we will be visiting there and essentially promoting ourselves and promoting that students, apply for roles with us at Zimmer and Peacock. So that's just a little bit of news on the recruitment front. We also had our weekly webinar this week, and we did touch upon the fact that chili samples are a lot lots of real world samples, like lots of food samples. They're quite heterogeneous. They can be quite lumpy. They can have liquid in them. They can have seeds in them. And so this prompted a bit of a discussion at our weekly ZP Developer Zone webinar, which we put out at 8 a.m. London time every Thursday. The reason I raise it now is, and it's quite nice that Saran's online, is because following this, we've kind of realized that actually we might be able to do a bit of a mechanical engineering solution around this. We've got, at Zimmer and Peacock, we do a lot of biosensor development, for human health, but sometimes, and maybe more and more, we're starting to get into doing testing on food, and it's not just chili sensing. It might also be looking for molecules in animal fat. And so with these more complicated matrices, getting to that molecule of interest, which might be quite buried within some fat or in some tissue, can be quite hard. And so we are starting to now think about mechanical solutions to sort of grind it up, break it up, get at those molecules. Excuse me. So I thought that would be interesting because Saran's online. I also think it's interesting because Aftab's online as well. And this is, food testing is definitely an area of interest. I believe in India as well, because we get those kind of inquiries. So that was just a little bit of news that came out of the weekly developer zone. So just some other things that I also want to mention. Technando. It's probably just worth me mentioning to Saran, who's one of our engineers, that Technando is our distributor in India. Aftab is online as well, and he heads up Technando. As part of the ZP Developer Zone, we have some files that are freely available to people for downloads. And at Technando, because they have the 3D printing and they have the engineering ability, they've started to make these 3D prints available to the Indian community. So if you're in India and you're interested in plotting out or printing out some of these 3D flow cells, then maybe contact the guys at Technando. Now, something else that we discussed this week, and I haven't done a good job of promoting this. There is a webinar this week. We're doing it with Palmsense, and we're actually going to do it on salinity. So we did a bit of a section this week where we talked about how to measure conductivity and how to measure how to calculate salinity. But I haven't done an amazing job of actually promoting the fact that yes, on the 22nd of September, I think at about 3 p.m. Central European time, there actually is a webinar with Palmsense. So my apologies for not over promoting that, but it will be on salinity. And so this week at the ZP Developer Zone, we did talk about salinity and conductivity, but it would be probably quite useful to actually then also attend that webinar that we're doing with Palmsense as well, and we'll be using the Sense It's Smart. And if you're in India and you're interested in the Sense It's Smart, then I would head over to the Technando website, and you should be able to get it from them as well. So that was just something that we talked about. This might be interesting as well. I think both to the two guys that are online today, this might be interesting. At Zimmer & Peacock, we do have a very well invested, very robust nitrate sensing system, and we also offer basically sensor development for soil monitoring. You know, I think this is going to be one of the biggest markets in the world in the future. Will be building biosensors for agricultural applications. I know that Elon Musk suggests that people don't go into the financial services; they actually go into agriculture. And I think he's got a point, because agriculture adds real value. You know, the financial services, you know, do they add real value, or do they just kind of move money around and make a percentage as they go? Obviously, you know, that needs to be debated a bit more. But what I would like to say is, you know, at Zimmer & Peacock, we do believe that actually agriculture and agricultural sensors are really important. I mean, this is how we're going to, you know, help feed the billions of people that are coming, and we're glad they are coming, but we do want to make sure that they are well fed. And it's not just about increasing the amount of farm usage. At ZP, we've done some studies, and we've, you know, by putting nitrate sensors into the soil, you discover that actually 2/3 of the fertilizers that are used are not necessarily required. And for us, you know, that's a really startling discovery. It tells you that 2/3 of the production is unrequired, and therefore you could have reduced both the local pollution by you know approximately 2/3, and you could have also reduced the greenhouse gases that go into producing nitrates. Producing fertilizers is one of the biggest producers of greenhouse gases, so it's important to develop and make farming more precise. They call it precision farming. At Zimmer & Peacock, we offer nutrient sensing development as a service, so I just want to touch upon that. And in the photos, those who are watching the vlog, you'll see some very large stacks of soil that we have in our labs, and you'll see, you know, all these cables coming into the stacks, and this is because we've got temperature, humidity and light and nutrient sensors in these stacks, so we're very set up for doing parallel soil testing. So just some news from Zimmer & Peacock on that. Also, we have some very fine engineers, and we've got engineers from all around the world in our company. You know, obviously guys from India and Bangladesh. We've got guys from the US. We've got guys from Norway. We've got guys from the UK, France, Spain. I think it's South Africa. I think every continent is represented apart from Antarctica. But the reason I mention it is because one of the guys who's from Scotland is leading a project on MEMS, and they're doing a really fine job. So at ZP, yeah, we do, screen printed electrodes, we do sputtering, but we also do MEMS and biomems fabrication, which is not something we're, let's say, so well known for, but it is something that we do. So I just want to sort of touch upon that. And now, this is something that's quite close to my heart. I think on Thursday we'll probably end up touching on this a bit more deeply, but at ZP, one of you always get dragged back to this in the world of biosensing, that glucose is the biggest, let's say, biosensor on the market. I think the blood glucose meter is probably worth about 15 billion per annum. Now in some markets that's small, but in our market it's fairly big, and it actually accounts for about half the the revenue in the market. So it would be brilliant that it is brilliant that CGM technologies are coming along, these continuous glucose monitoring technologies. Some people are very interested in actually doing completely non-invasive glucose monitoring. What they're doing is they're using different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. So you've got people using radio frequency, you've got some people using like Raman spectroscopy, some people using UV vis spectroscopy, some people using infrared, but they're all using different parts of spectroscopy. And we'll probably touch again on this at 8 a.m. on Thursday. But I mean, a lot of money's been put into completely non-invasive glucose monitoring, and it hasn't come about yet. And the kind of people that put money into this, include people like Apple. So the sort of the very well-funded companies have also tried. So we'll touch upon this as well. But we are having inquiries about non-invasive CGM. So I thought it was interesting that we maybe return to that topic. And also, I did get an inquiry about reverse iontophoresis this week. Reverse iontophoresis is a method by which you essentially put voltage through the skin, and it forces a current to flow, and when you get a current to flow, ions move, and when ions move you can move liquid. And now reverse iontophoresis has been around for 2 decades at least. I've talked about this, and Ali and people like Aftab have seen the webinars. But there is a renaissance in it. It's because some of the original patents have gone off patent now. So there's a sort of, people are jumping back into it. So we do get inquiries about it. So we just put up a little page about reverse iontophoresis. So as I say, I apologize that we have moved this webinar from 8 p.m. on Sundays to 8 a.m. And I know it's caught a few people out. It's very hard to announce something like that. We don't like to send out lots of unsolicited emails, so if you are missing it because of that, we apologise, but of course it is recorded, so hopefully you can kind of catch back up. So on the 19th of October, we'll be at NTNU. If you're in Norway, please talk to colleagues about that. We did do a webinar this week about dealing with complex samples, including chili, but I think that is actually going to inspire some mechanical solutions, so we've got a couple of engineers working upon that. We have talked about Technando is able to, they represent us in India, and they're able to 3D print as a service for their colleagues in India. There is a webinar on the 22nd of September with Palmsense, which will complement. Yeah, that's an interesting comment actually. So there's a webinar on the 22nd of September with Palmsense, and so our notes on conductivity and salinity will complement that webinar. And yes, Aftab has just made a very interesting comment that there are a lot of companies in India doing, let's say, non-invasive CGM monitoring. And so I would just make a quick comment that people like Technando and people like Zimmer Peacock, we can add value to these CGM companies who are doing non-invasive CGM technologies, because at ZP this is a commercial CGM that I happen to have. So we have it's a commercial CGM. You can basically put it onto the arm and continuously monitor the glucose. that means then that we can essentially run trials where the new non-invasive CGM is being tested and the traditional CGM is being tested, and so that gives us the ability to run AI algorithms where we've got let's say the truth, which comes from the CGM sensor, the traditional CGM sensor, which is invasive, and then we can also be monitoring the signal from the new generation of non-invasive CGM. So that's just a quick call out to AFTAB, that even if companies are interested in doing non-invasive, obviously our expertise in the traditional technology can be the baseline against which then they can then develop their non-invasive solutions. I'm just looking at Saran's comments as well. So then finally, also don't forget about ZP in terms of we're very interested in agriculture going forward and putting sensors into the soil. We have a very strong MEMS group, which might be interesting even for people doing non-invasive CGM. We will talk about non-invasive CGM as well again on Thursday at 8 a.m. And I think related to actually non-invasive CGM is this reverse iontophoresis. Reverse iontophoresis is on the border between invasive and non-invasive. You would describe it as minimally invasive. Okay, so there's a lot of chat there. I appreciate Aftab and Saran coming along this morning. Saran, you don't have to get out of bed quite so early on a Sunday. We'll just put it up online afterwards anyway. But yeah, and if you want to catch this as a podcast, we'll also list it as a podcast as well. All right, guys. I will catch you soon, and in fact, you might see some of these. The webinar on Thursday at 8 a.m. actually coming from Norway, because the world is opening back up. I'll be flying to Norway tomorrow, and so we'll be doing this our ZP Developer Zone webinar from Norway on Thursday. All right, thanks very much. Take care, guys, and see you tomorrow, Saran and Aftab. I'll catch you online. All right, take care. Bye bye.